Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a truth as old as time itself. Success is not built in a moment of glory, but in the quiet struggle of each passing day. The world does not reward those who merely dream. It rewards those who dare to act, those who push forward day by day, even when the results are not immediate, even when the road is long, and even when the spirit is weary. You may feel like nothing is changing. You may feel like your efforts are not being seen, but let me remind you, every seed you plant, every inch you move forward, every single day you show up, you are building a destiny that cannot be denied. Greatness is not found in the explosive moments. It is built in the consistent, disciplined grind, one choice at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. When the sun rises and you feel the weight of yesterday clinging to your back, push anyway. When doubt knocks at the door of your mind and whispers that you are not enough, push anyway. When the world seems to turn its back on you and your dreams look far beyond your reach, push anyway. Because each time you rise when it would be easier to quit, you are proving something powerful, not to others, but to yourself. You are proving that your spirit is unbreakable, that your purpose is stronger than your pain, that your future is more important than your past. You do not need to move mountains in a single day. You simply need to move forward. You don't need to conquer the world in a moment. You simply need to conquer your hesitation, your excuses, your laziness today. Success is not some distant, mysterious force. It is the result of compounded effort. It is the reward of those who keep showing up, who keep giving their best, who keep striving day by day. So take the pressure off. You don't have to know exactly how the journey will unfold. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the next step, and if you stumble, rise. If you fall behind, catch your breath and keep going. If your faith wavers, remind yourself of your why, your reason, your vision, your legacy. No man ever reached the summit of his ambition by standing still. No woman ever built a life of meaning by wishing for comfort. It is in the daily push, the tireless persistence, the refusal to give up, that the impossible becomes reality. So if you are tired, keep going. If you are uncertain, keep going. If the world doubts you, let it. But you must believe, you must press forward, you must keep pushing on, day by day, because one day you will look back and realize, those hard days, those quiet battles, those lonely hours of effort, they were not in vain. They were your foundation. They were the proof that you were never average, you were never ordinary, you were becoming. So stand tall, eyes forward, shoulders back, and keep pushing on, day by day. There exists a fatal misconception in the minds of those who seek success, the belief that greatness is born in moments of explosive power, that achievement arrives in sudden flashes of brilliance. They imagine that one bold action, one stroke of genius, one burst of passion will catapult them into a life of abundance and glory. But this, my friend, is not how success works. Success is not an event. It is a process. It is not a sprint to the finish line. It is a slow, methodical, relentless journey that demands your effort not once, but every single day. The truth is this: the men and women who rise to the top are not always the most talented. They are not always the most intelligent, but they are always, without exception, the most consistent. It is consistency, not intensity, that builds empires. Intensity feels good. It makes you believe you are moving mountains. You wake up inspired, energized, on fire, and for a day or two you give it your all, but then you stop, life gets in the way, distractions knock, motivation fades, and the fire that once burned becomes smoke in the wind. But consistency, that is a different force entirely. Consistency is quiet. It doesn't shout. It doesn't seek applause. It doesn't even require inspiration. It simply requires a decision to show up and do the work whether you feel like it or not. The person who works intensely for 1 week and disappears for 3 will never outpace the one who shows up for 30 minutes a day every day. You may not see results today. You may not see them tomorrow. But make no mistake, the work you put in day after day compounds, it stacks, it builds upon itself like bricks forming a foundation, and over time it becomes unshakable. You see, every day that you act in alignment with your purpose, you are programming your mind for success. You are reinforcing the identity of a winner. You are proving not to others but to yourself that you are someone who follows through. There is a law in this universe that cannot be broken. Repetition builds mastery, and mastery is what separates the dreamer from the achiever. Look at any person who has reached the heights of their field, be it in business, in the arts, in sports, or in leadership, and you will find the same pattern. They were not one-time wonders. They did not rely on short bursts of effort. No, they followed a rhythm, a ritual, a code of consistency. They worked when it was boring. They worked when it was hard. They worked when no one was watching. They worked when their minds told them to rest, because they knew something most never realize. Success is the reward of endurance. Let me ask you, what are you doing every day to move the needle forward? Not what you did last week in a burst of excitement, not what you plan to do next month. What are you doing today? The world honors persistence. The universe responds to action, not occasional action. Not convenient action, but daily, deliberate, determined effort. Do not be fooled by the glamour of dramatic efforts. They are like fireworks, bright, loud, and gone in an instant. What you want is a slow, burning flame. A fire that stays lit day after day, warming your soul and lighting your path forward. That fire comes from discipline, and discipline is simply doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. So wake up each morning and ask yourself, what can I do today to move forward? Then do it, not perfectly, not dramatically, but consistently, because the man who does a little every day will accomplish more than the one who does a lot on occasion. The woman who keeps her eyes fixed on the goal, taking small steps forward daily, will arrive before those who leap only when the mood strikes. Success does not belong to the occasional, it belongs to the faithful. Keep showing up, keep putting in the work, keep building your future, not with grand gestures, but with daily, quiet, unstoppable consistency, and in time the world will look at what you have created and call it greatness. But you will know it was simply the result of doing the right thing, day after day after day. There comes a time in every person's life when emotion turns against ambition, a moment when the heart feels heavy, the mind grows weary, and every fiber of your being whispers, not today. It is in that moment, when the world inside you says to quit, that your future is determined. You see, the majority of people wait until they feel ready. They wait until they are excited. They wait until the path looks easy and inviting. But here's the truth most will never grasp. If you wait for perfect conditions, you will wait forever. Feelings are fickle. They change with the weather, shift with your energy, and bend under the weight of hardship. But principle is stronger than feeling. Your mission must be stronger than your mood. The one who wins in this life is not the one who feels the strongest. It is the one who acts in spite of weakness. You must train yourself to become immune to the deception of emotion. If your mind says, I'm tired, tell it, we go anyway. If your heart says, I'm scared, tell it, we move forward. If your body says, I'm done, remind it who is in control. Because the battle is not in the world around you, it is in the 6 inches between your ears. That is the true war, and those who master that battlefield rule everything else. Understand this clearly. Progress doesn't require that you feel unstoppable. It only requires that you don't stop. Every day you feel like giving up, but choose to keep going. You grow. You build something stronger than motivation. You build character. The ones who climbed the highest mountains didn't feel strong every day. They felt cold, afraid, exhausted, but they kept climbing. Why? Because they had something greater than comfort. They had a commitment to finish what they started. Do not confuse how you feel with what is possible. You are capable of far more than you imagine, but you will never discover your potential if you only move when the sun is shining. True strength is found in the storm, when the skies are dark and your spirit is low, yet you press on. That is when greatness is born. And here is a powerful truth. Every time you act despite feeling weak, you take power away from that weakness. You shrink it, you starve it, and in its place you build resilience. You forge mental toughness. You create a mind that obeys purpose, not pressure. People often say, "I'm just not in the mood today." But your purpose doesn't care about your mood. Destiny doesn't wait for motivation to show up. Success is earned in the moments when you push through resistance, not when you glide through ease. Let others quit when they're tired. Let others wait for inspiration, but not you. You will rise when it's hard. You will move when it hurts. You will act when every part of you says to stop, because you understand something most never will. The feeling passes, but the result remains. You don't wake up every day with fire in your soul, but you do wake up with a choice to surrender or to advance, a choice to lean on your excuses or to rise in your discipline. The person who can keep going when they don't feel like it will always outlast the one who waits to feel ready. So the next time your emotions pull you backward, smile. That's your signal to move forward. That's the moment that separates the committed from the comfortable. That is the hour of decision. Will you obey your feelings? Or will you obey your vision? Decide now. Because if you don't take command of your feelings will take command of you. And when that happens, your destiny becomes a hostage of your comfort zone. Push through, not because it's easy, not because you feel like it, but because the future you're building is worth every ounce of resistance. You are not meant to be ruled by fleeting emotion. You are meant to rise above it. Every step you take forward, especially when it's hard, becomes a brick in the foundation of the life you were born to build. So take that next step. Do it tired, do it uncertain, do it frustrated if you must. But do it, and in time you will become something few ever do, unshakable. Too often men and women defeat themselves not because they lack strength, but because they lack patience. They gaze up at the mountain of their dreams, overwhelmed by its height, intimidated by the distance, and they say to themselves, "It's too much." And with that one thought, they turn back, never realizing that they were only required to take one step, just one, and then another. Let this truth be etched in your mind. No great thing is built in a day, but all great things are built daily. The secret to every mighty achievement lies not in a massive leap, but in persistent, deliberate motion. Inch by inch, day by day, the skyscraper is not erected in a single effort. It is built brick by brick, one layer at a time, until what was once only a vision stands as a monument to disciplined action. It is the same with your success. You do not have to know exactly how the entire journey will unfold. You are not expected to solve the whole puzzle at once. You are simply called to take the next logical step. And that step may be small, insignificant to the world, but to your future it is everything. You see, the mind often demands grand progress. It craves fast results and instant reward, but life does not honor speed. It honors faithful effort. The law of growth does not obey the clock. It obeys consistency, clarity, and courage. There is no shame in small beginnings. In fact, that is where every great destiny is forged, in the shadows, in the silence, in the unnoticed corners where effort is made without applause and persistence is practiced without praise. The man who plants a seed does not stand over the earth demanding fruit the next morning. He knows the process, he trusts the timing, and while the seed lies hidden beneath the surface, he waters it, protects it, and waits, not in fear but in faith. So too must you approach your dreams, one phone call, one page written, one habit practiced, one repetition performed, one promise kept, one step taken. These are not minor acts, they are sacred building blocks. The person who does a little with focus and repetition will always outlast the one who waits for the perfect moment to do something grand. 1,000 small steps walked in the right direction will carry you farther than 100 giant leaps in the wrong one. Your life does not change when you finally arrive. It changes the moment you decide to begin. That's where the power is, not in the finish line, but in the starting point and in the will to keep going when progress feels invisible. Do not despise the days of slow movement. Do not curse the seasons where change seems microscopic. That is when the greatest work is happening, not outside but within. Your mind is being sharpened, your habits are being shaped, your resilience is being forged. Each step you take rewrites your future. And when you look back one day, you will realize that the climb, the small steps, the repetition, the daily discipline, was where your strength was born. The journey, not the destination, is where your greatness was crafted. So take the step. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to impress anyone, but it must be taken. And then tomorrow take another, and the day after that another still. Let others chase speed, you chase substance. Let others chase applause, you chase progress. Let others seek instant results, you seek permanent transformation. There is a power in daily effort that no storm can break, no critic can diminish, and no failure can erase. Small steps taken consistently, fueled by purpose, that is the formula, and if you follow it, without excuse, without hesitation, you will find yourself standing in places most never reach, not because you were faster, not because you were luckier, but because you understood what few ever grasp. Success is not one big thing, it is 1,000 small things, done well. There is a dangerous trap in this world, one that ensnares the minds of even the most ambitious men and women. It is the pursuit of approval, the endless thirst for recognition, the constant looking outward for validation. Many have climbed great heights only to realize they were climbing someone else's ladder. They reached the top, but the top meant nothing, because it was not theirs. You must understand this truth if you are ever to live a life of real power. Your worth cannot be measured by the opinions of others. The value of your vision, your work, your life, comes from within. The moment you surrender your identity to the applause or criticism of the world, you lose your power. You become a puppet, controlled not by purpose, but by perception. Do not chase the crowd, lead yourself. There will be times when no one believes in you, times when your efforts are misunderstood, your dreams mocked, your path questioned, and in those times, if you have not learned to validate yourself, you will collapse. Not from failure, but from the emptiness that follows when a man builds his life around approval rather than conviction. You must be able to look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of who I'm becoming, regardless of whether anyone else sees your growth. Because most won't, not at first. They may see the struggle, but not the sacrifice. They may see the results, but not the discipline. They may see the success, but never the sleepless nights, the lonely hours, the inner battles you fought just to keep going. And that's okay, because the victory isn't in proving them wrong. The victory is in proving yourself right. It's in knowing that you didn't quit when it would have been easier to walk away. It's in knowing that you stayed loyal to your vision even when no one else could see it. Let them doubt, let them criticize, let them overlook you. That's not your concern. Your concern is with your integrity. Your mission is to live a life that reflects your values, your standards, your highest potential. When you do that, you will carry a peace that no amount of applause can replace and no criticism can shake. You see, many are chasing a trophy to silence their insecurities, but no trophy, no title, no spotlight can fill the void that comes from betraying your own truth. What good is external success if you've lost your internal compass? The most dangerous enemy is not out there. It is the voice within that says, you're not enough unless they say you are. Silence that voice. Replace it with one that says, I am enough because I decide to be, because I live by my own principles, because I know who I am. Build your self-worth like a fortress, strong, unshakable, and let that self Worth be rooted in action, not ego. In discipline, not delusion. In purpose, not popularity. When you walk the path of internal validation, you become dangerous in the best way. You are no longer controlled by the highs and lows of opinion. You are no longer a slave to likes, applause, or affirmation. You are free, and from that place of inner strength, you will create work that lasts. You will lead with clarity. You will act with courage. You will build with focus, because your power is no longer on loan from the world. It comes from within. So stop looking for someone to tell you you're good enough. Be the one who decides that you are. Stop waiting for permission to pursue your calling. Claim it. Stop asking if they believe in you. Believe in yourself. When you trust your own voice, when you listen to your own soul, when you are anchored in who you are and why you do what you do, there is nothing you cannot become. You do not need a crowd to feel complete. You need a cause. You do not need applause to feel alive. You need alignment, and once you find that, you will move through life not with arrogance, but with assurance, the kind that cannot be taken because it was never given by others. It was built, earned, and protected by you. Too many people wait to feel ready. They wait to feel excited. They wait for the mood to strike before they act, but those who live this way never build anything that lasts. They become prisoners of impulse, drifting from one idea to the next, ruled not by purpose, but by emotion. There is a better way, a higher path, a path walked not by those who feel like doing the work, but by those who have decided that the work must be done, regardless of how they feel. That path is called discipline. Discipline is the invisible force that separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It is the quiet decision to act when there is no fire, no crowd, no glory. It is the decision to keep your word to yourself, even when no one is watching. Motivation is fleeting. It rises and falls like the tide. One day it floods in, and you feel unstoppable. The next day it vanishes, and you're left empty, stuck, paralyzed. But discipline is constant. It does not care if you're tired. It does not bend to your feelings. It demands consistency. The individual who builds a life worth living is the one who stops waiting for inspiration and starts relying on structure. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" They ask, "What needs to be done?" You see, motivation is emotional. Discipline is spiritual. To wake up before the sun, to show up when others sleep, to push when others pause. That is the domain of the discipline. And here is the truth. Every time you act in discipline, you train your mind to obey intention over impulse. You strengthen the most important muscle in the human body, not the arms, not the legs, but the will. A weak will bows to excuses. A strong will shatters them. If you wish to change your life, don't search for more motivation. Build more structure. Build a system so strong you can no longer rely on how you feel. Design your life in such a way that success becomes automatic. Create habits that pull you toward greatness. Establish routines that become non-negotiable. Hold standards that are higher than your mood, stronger than your excuses, and anchored in your vision, not your convenience. And let this be clear, discipline is not about punishment, it is about freedom. The man who trains his mind to act regardless of emotion is the man who is truly free, free from distraction, free from laziness, free from the sabotage of procrastination. When you live by discipline, you no longer need to be rescued by motivation. You become your own rescuer. You no longer wait for opportunity. You create it, day by day, habit by habit, action by action. And when the world watches you and says, "How do you stay so consistent?" you will smile and know the truth. You stopped trying to feel like it and started becoming the kind of person who does it anyway. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are meant to be, and every day, every task, every choice is a step across that bridge. Some days the steps are small, some days they are difficult. But each one takes you closer to the life you were born to build, so stop waiting to be in the mood. Do it because you made a promise. Do it because your future is counting on you. Do it because who you become by doing the hard thing is far more powerful than any temporary comfort you receive from avoiding it. You will not always be motivated, but you can always be disciplined. Motivation is the spark. Discipline is the fire that never goes out. Feed that fire every early morning, every uncomfortable rep, every act of obedience to your purpose, every time you rise without excuse. You stoke that flame, and in time that fire will light your way through darkness. It will keep you warm when the world turns cold, and it will burn away every weakness, every excuse, every obstacle that stands in your path. So do not rely on feelings, rely on commitment. The disciplined man does not need to be told to work. He does not need to be pushed. He is driven by something deeper, a code, a conviction, a cause. Let that be you. There comes a moment on every great journey when progress seems to vanish. You look around, and there's no evidence of your effort, no results, no recognition, no reward, just the work, the waiting, and the weight of wondering, is this even working? It is in this exact moment that most people quit, not because they can't go on, but because they don't see the results yet. They stop digging, even though the gold was just inches away. They give up, not because they're weak, but because they mistook silence for failure. You must never make that mistake. The greatest power you can develop is the power to continue without proof, the power to keep pushing forward, not because it's working, but because you believe it will. Faith in the process is not blind optimism, it is earned trust. Trust built through consistency, trust forged through discipline, trust developed by knowing that effort, repeated long enough, always yields fruit. The seed planted in the earth doesn't sprout the next morning. It takes time, it takes care, it takes patience, but beneath the soil a transformation is happening, a transformation unseen by the eye, but real nonetheless. And so it is with your life. You may not see the breakthrough yet, you may not feel the success yet, but if you're showing up, if you're doing the work, if you're feeding your vision with consistent action, then you are winning. Understand this, the process is never silent, it's always speaking, but it speaks in a language most people never take the time to learn. It speaks through habits, it speaks through mindset, it speaks through resilience, forged in the unseen hours. That's why you must not base your belief on what you see. Base your belief on what you know, and what you know is this: consistent effort over time always creates a return. Do not confuse delayed results with wasted effort. Do not confuse a quiet season with a dead one. Sometimes life is testing your commitment. It's asking, will you still work when there is no applause? Will you still show up when the results are invisible? Will you still believe in the vision even when no one else does? If your answer is yes, then you are already on the path to greatness. You see, faith in the process is the secret weapon of champions. While others are panicking, you are patient. While others are doubting, you are trusting. While others are quitting, you are continuing. That persistence, rooted in faith, is what separates those who merely wish from those who win. And here's what's remarkable: the day will come when results show up all at once. It will seem sudden, but it was not sudden. It was the natural outcome of work that went unseen, of discipline that felt unrewarded, of faith that kept walking in the dark. You cannot cheat the process. But if you trust it, really trust it, it will repay you beyond measure. So build even when no one sees, train even when no one claps, create even when no one listens. Keep sowing even when the harvest feels far away. Every rep, every page, every decision, every early morning, every lonely night, these things count. They are stacking in your favor. They are building momentum beneath the surface. It's just a matter of time. And when the results arrive, when the curtain finally lifts and the world sees what you've built, they will call it luck or talent or overnight success. But you will know the truth. You will know that it was none of those things. It was faith, it was commitment, it was the process. That is the foundation of greatness. So never stop just because you can't see progress. Keep going, keep showing up, keep believing. Your time is coming, but only if you refuse to quit before it arrives. Remember this, it's not about how fast you reach the goal. It's about how long you can stay faithful when no one is watching, when nothing is working, when the voice of doubt grows louder than the voice of reason. Silence that doubt with action, starve it with discipline, and overcome it with unshakable faith in the process, because once you master that, you become unstoppable.